Okay, according to my computer, it's 2 o'clock. Good, so we'll go ahead and get started. So good afternoon to all those that are here with us live and to those that may watch this later. Hello, my name is Eric Toler. I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Cyber Center. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today and moderate this all-star cast of experts who are going to share some information about resources that you can use to help educate your students in the IT field. Before I get started, I do want to personally thank the Georgia Department of Education and Georgia Tech's Constellations Center for sponsoring and allowing us all to participate on this panel. Also, particularly want to thank the teachers out there, the counselors, administrators, all those that are helping educate our young people and help prepare them for a successful future. So as a former soldier, I salute you guys for what you do, educating our young people. Now I want to just briefly introduce our panel members, and they'll talk more about themselves as we go through. But first up, we have Christa Camp, who's the Business Development Lead for K-12 for the Open P-Tech, or Pathways in Technology Early College High Schools for IBM. We have Tracey Wilson, the Regional Manager of the Southeast for Microsoft Teals Program, or Technology Education and Literacy in Schools. Yay. We have Tyler Kenner, the STEM Curriculum Development Lead at the Georgia Tech Research Institute. And Nicole Cliff, Cyber DevOps Engineer for our E1337 training. If you speak, that's elite training here at the Georgia Cyber Center. So again, we'll talk more about their background and how they came into these positions as they go through. But to kind of set the stage here, we all know about information technology. It's been around for decades. However, the nature of IT has changed drastically, particularly in the last few years. There's new protocols, there's new applications, enhanced data, compression algorithms, advanced encryption techniques, etc. I could go on and on. Additionally, there are more and more of our productivity is now dependent on software and computer code, which have introduced vulnerabilities into these information systems and our processes that are being exploited from anyone from criminal organizations to nation state actors. And these nefarious actors are trying to steal our money, our intellectual property, and even conduct disinformation campaigns on our own social media platforms. And I just had a discussion with a lady from Army Cyber Command today about that very topic. So with this rapid change in information technology and the growing array of cybersecurity threats, how is our foundational education system keeping up with all this? The good news is there's a plethora of information and resources out there for you. The bad news is there's a plethora of good information and resources out there for you. So the challenge is where to begin and how to leverage some of these resources to meet your certain class or student need. So the purpose of this panel is to introduce educators to some of these great IT and cybersecurity educational resources, which are not only fantastic, but most of them are either no cost or little cost. So how good is free stuff, right? So we'll talk about some of the challenges in curriculum development and access to curriculum, teacher skill development and assistance, and specific student resources that can be used both in and outside the classroom. But enough from me. Let's get on to the good stuff with our panel of experts. And so first up for Christa, I heard that IBM has this amazing digital platform for introducing students to industry relevant technical skills called Open P-Tech. Can you tell us a little more about Open P-Tech, the platform, how schools can leverage this resource, and how you became involved with the platform?
Well, good to be connected with you all this afternoon. So IBM's been in the sort of skill development of high school students game for over a decade. We pioneered the P-TECH model, which started in Brooklyn, New York, that is now globally has over 200 schools that have students earning both a high school degree and an associate's degree within a 6-year integrated model. Open P-TECH, this digital platform, sort of birthed this idea that ultimately, as much as we love the brick and mortar model, not every high school student is going to get to experience it. So we had an obligation to sort of democratize some of these skills, democratize the tech experience, and create digital badges and industry relevant content that any high school student has access to. So that's where Open P-TECH came from. Coincidentally enough, someone at IBM had a crystal ball because we rolled it out March 5th of last year. It's completely virtual, and it was exactly what many schools needed. So it's had a really huge year. We have about 250,000 students globally using the platform or earning badges. But what our hope is at this point, especially in the US, is to partner directly with school districts to ensure that they're able to use the platform to get students skilled up in the areas of both technical skills and professional skills. So they're ready for the AI economy that is waiting for them when they finish high school or whatever their post-secondary hopes are.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And we'll come back to some more of that in a minute. On to more free stuff. I saw in the chat that they love free stuff. So on to Tracey. I understand you used to be a high school computer science teacher. And so you have a unique understanding of some of the challenges that teachers have in teaching technology classes. So now you're with the Microsoft Teals Program. Can you tell us more about the program and why you think this is such a tremendous resource for teachers?
Sure. So as you said, I was a high school teacher for 13 years, actually, before I started doing this with Teals. So I have been on both sides of the aisle, so to speak, on this one. I do also have an IT background and a computer science degree, which put me as kind of a unicorn as far as teaching goes. Most high school teachers do not have computer science background. They're usually cross-trained from another discipline. But Teals is a program that is out there to help build teacher capacity. Our ultimate primary responsibility or goal is to make it easier for teachers to become certified if that's what they're looking for in their state, or to at least give them the skills to teach rigorous computer science courses. So our goal is to give resources to the teachers, not just in a week's worth of training over the summer, but throughout the school year. So what we do is we take industry professionals from companies all over, like IBM, Apple, Google, Amazon, and of course Microsoft, and we partner those IT professionals with a high school teacher that is either just starting with computer science or still learning computer science, and they co-teach a class together. So the students have the opportunity to not only learn from an IT professional that's doing this for a living in their day-to-day job, but the teachers are also learning from that IT professional. And I actually see one of my teachers in the chat already. Coach Higgy is actually one of our teachers and is learning all about computer science from some great volunteers right now. So our thing is to empower the teachers with more information and more resources, while also supporting that class and letting the school stand up an IT pathway, maybe before the teacher would have normally been ready to do it on their own. And we're free. Our services are 100% free to the school.
That's fantastic. I know, talking with the Department of Education, we had a panel last week, and teacher education and development was their top priority. And then I was just on a panel for this conference earlier, and they said one of the key challenges is teacher development, and a big challenge. So thank you for doing what you're doing there. That's fantastic. All right, Nicole. So you have about 2 decades of experience in networking and cybersecurity, and I certainly know your passion for teaching since I work with you directly. We have numerous resources for K through 12 teachers at the Georgia Cyber Center, but one that you and I are both a huge fan of is the Cisco Networking Academy. where you serve as both the Network Academy Support Center and an instructor training center. So can you give us a quick explanation of the Cisco Networking Academy program and why you think it's such a great program for high schools? You're on mute, Nicole.
I clicked in the wrong place, sorry. So thank you, Eric. I will absolutely share and be happy to share my passion for this program. If you're able to see the graphic, this particular graphic deals with the Cisco Networking Academy program and the impact report specifically in Georgia. And as you can look, over 4,589 students. I love being a female educator and IT technologist myself, that 23% of the students are female, that this program aligns to certifications, and there are educational partners in this space and industry partners in this space that actually take Networking Academy students that have completed these courses successfully that I'm going to talk about, and have actually helped to align them to jobs. So there's two very relevant quotes at the bottom here that I will spare time and just allow you to read them. But as we know, the world is always moving and always changing, and nowhere is that more true than with technology. So with the Cisco Networking Academy, students can actually have hands-on instruction with real equipment and the actual tools in software and internally developed tools such as the Packet Tracer tool developed by the Cisco Networking Academy as well. This program allows the students to actually test their skills. Educators are provided with all of the course materials, to include the hands-on labs, the Packet Tracer labs, which are part of the simulation software, as well as the assessments. What I love the most about the course curricula is that the courses are updated regularly. So for industry certifications, those typically change every 3 years, and you're required to recert in those certifications every 3 years. So the curricula is designed to be updated by the Cisco Networking Academy program to align with the certification updates. The curriculum is designed to develop what's referred to as a T-shaped professional, and that T-shaped professional is basically what industry demands in someone they're hiring today, is someone with a very large breadth of skills that has a specialized skill in one or two areas. So say, for instance, for me, I grew up as a networking professional, but as I spent most of my time in networking, and as technologies evolved, it's required me to broaden my skills across a spectrum of programming, such as Python, the cybersecurity field, the Internet of Things, and other courses as well. So all of these courses that are part of the Cisco Networking Academy program range from an exploratory course, which is basically a very introductory course, to what's called a career ready course. And a career ready course aligns to a certification, which a lot of high schools, 2-year colleges, 4-year universities want to be able to offer these technical students with some sort of certification upon graduation. Some of the learning pathways that you can actually include. So many people were familiar with the Academy when it only offered the IT networking pathway. But today, the courseware has expanded to networking, the Internet of Things, cybersecurity, programming, and information technology. So any academies, educators, and students are allowed and afforded the opportunity to stay ahead of an ever-evolving world of changing technologies. And the focus from the Cisco Networking Academy is not just to provide students with specific skills, but really to enable them to become global problem solvers. So I think this is a huge plus as well. So anyone who's interested in the Academy program and becoming an Academy, or if you want the opportunity for me to demo the curriculum that's part of the learning management system used by Cisco Networking Academy, I have put that information in the chat, and you can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to give you more information on how to become an Academy and what the pathways are that are available through this program.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Nicole. I noticed Christa and Tracey put either their URL or email address to contact them, as well as Nicole and Tyler will do the same. So, the great thing about these panels is the follow-up, right? So we'll present a little bit of information, but then what you really need is to contact people directly and get more details. So next up, we saved the best for last here, Tyler. So you're part of another great program that is homegrown at the Georgia Tech Research Institute and funded by the state of Georgia. Can you tell us more about STEM at GTRI, how you're accomplishing the K-12 outreach, and what brought you to the STEM at GTRI program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, of course, we're state funded. The real meaning of that meaning that it's completely free. All of our programming and resources for K-12 teachers in the state of Georgia, which, if it's free, then it's for me, right? That's the best thing for educators. Just to share a little bit about what we do, I mean, it's all really kind of centered around this idea of supporting Georgia and becoming the technology capital of the East Coast. And of course, there is no shortage of tech talent, not just in the Atlanta area or the metro area, but throughout the state, right? One of the things I've been learning more about is, all of the cybersecurity work and all the cyber stuff coming out of Augusta, which I'm impressed by and really, really kind of floored by, because, you would never know. I'm a transplant to the state, like a lot of folks. And so I'm constantly kind of learning more and always impressed and always really, inspired by the amazing work that folks are doing. And that's one of the things that we try to do is, from STEM at GTRI, our two main ways that we engage with classrooms is directed discovery, which is classroom-focused programming, where we bring not just researchers from Georgia Tech and Georgia Tech Research Institute, which is the applied research arm of Georgia Tech, but also from other great institutions around the state. We've collaborated with Savannah State University. We've done some work with Kennesaw State University, now getting in touch with our folks and our friends over in Augusta to do more around cybersecurity with our computer science classrooms. And so those are all focused on, creating not just an awareness and exposure to, STEM plus CS careers, but also helping students kind of learn about how that research and how that engineering, how that, computer science happens. What does it look like in the real world, and translating that into actionable classroom resources. So, it might be something where you've got maybe an interaction with a STEM professional or a computer science professional, and you've done lessons related to their work in cybersecurity or in engineering, or in we have one researcher who just got some solar panels back from the International Space Station. So maybe your students have been learning about photovoltaics, and then you kind of have this cool interaction with a researcher in photovoltaics who has done work with NASA and the ISS. So it's all focused on that with the classroom piece. With the teacher professional learning, Explorers Guild is the main way that we deliver that translation of kind of the frontiers of STEM plus CS to what teachers are doing in the classroom. Right now, actually, this afternoon, we are preparing for our last session in a 4-part series all about gaming and esports. I know our computer science teachers in the state have probably heard gaming and esports kind of floated around. Maybe you are an esports coach. Maybe you've been approached about starting an esports team at your school. And so one of the things that we do is, we're really like I said, kind of just a connector of all these fantastic things that are happening all around our state, which there's no shortage of. It's a position to be in. So we're bringing in Todd Harris from the Georgia Scholastic Esports Foundation, along with Laura Levy, the research director for gaming and applied esports research at Georgia Tech, to talk more about esports and starting an esports team at your school and the value of esports. And so those are some things that we do. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Again, you know, all of this is free, but share a little bit more about what we do here. If I can, way to do this, here we go. So again, you know, we're all about going from the stakeholder collaboration that's working with folks like those on this call, you know, teachers, teacher associations like, you know, the Georgia Science Teachers Association, the Computer Science Teachers Association, schools and district, RESAs, to do that teacher development and support and the student experiences and outreach. So I'm going to drop the link to our website in the chat, and that's where you can get on our mailing list and learn more about our programming. And I'll say right now we're in the mode where we're kind of on a listening tour. And so if you have a really great idea for, you know, oh, this professional learning would really help me or really help my teachers, or I'd like this opportunity for my students. You know, if you're in the metro area, we do offer summer internships for high school students. If you're outside the metro area, of course, we have some other opportunities through direct discovery that we'd love for you to get involved in that aren't just science focused. I know a lot of that stuff, you know, when we think about bringing researchers into the classroom, a lot of times it's science focused. We work really hard to make sure that we're exposing our students to not just science, but artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, augmented reality, knowing that, you know, especially going forward into the future, you know, you can be a scientist, a mathematician, but really that STEM piece, that T is becoming a lot more important. And you've got to be able to do all of that science and math with some computer science, with some technology with it, because that's really where the future is going. And so we are so excited to have so many fantastic partners in that and other great thinkers and folks doing this work throughout the state that we can partner up and team up with. And I just dropped that link in the chat so folks can go there to learn more about our programming, our resources, and get involved. We are offering a 2-week professional learning series for STEM teachers. If folks are looking for some PD this summer, I know for K-12 teachers, this summer might not be the summer where you're really looking for PD, and that's totally fair. You might be saying, I'm taking a tent, I'm taking a car, an RV, and I'm going out to the middle of nowhere and not answering an email. But if you're interested in kind of, you know, get refreshed and learn some new stuff and get some new activities, we are offering that for free for teachers throughout the state. Really excited about it.
Thanks, Tyler. That's fantastic. And for anybody that's listening to the panel, questions as we go, please drop those in the chat, and we will try to get to those before we conclude today. All right, so it sounds like there's a lot of great free stuff out there. But there's also some challenges. And so, you know, what are some of those challenges that teachers might have accessing and utilizing these resources? And for the panel, what can y'all do to help overcome these challenges? And so I'm going to kind of go around the horn here, and we'll start off with Christa.
Well, you know, OpenPTech has over 75 hours of asynchronous self-paced learning across many emerging technologies: artificial intelligence, blockchain, security, data science. And none of that even includes all of our coursework on just workplace learning, employability, et cetera. So I say that with over 75 hours of learning means there's just a lot of content on the platform. I think it can feel really overwhelming. Regularly during teacher trainings, when we tell them about the platform, we point things out, they're like, this is amazing. And then they open the website and they're like, okay, what now? Where should I start? So part of the ways that some of the strategies we use to help teachers sort of figure out how is this going to site really be useful to me and my students. We do have a course catalog where you can find content based on the skills you want to grow in students. It's also separated by both a workplace learning and technical skill development. And then you can also find a whole tab that's specifically for teacher resources. We also have an implementation guide that sort of highlights the top 10 pieces of content on the site and then shares the literal link of this is the student learning plan They range from 7 to 20 hours. And then there's also a teacher resources link. And I'll drop opportunities to see that in the chat as well. And then we also provide whatever human support you need. We have an entire digital success team that provides one-to-one training, small group training. We've even helped in real time register their students and show them how to use courses. So our hope is to make sure that the platform is as useful to you as possible. But it's a lot of content. So please feel comfortable referencing us, leveraging us, expecting us to sort of help you wade through all of the content and make sure you find the right stuff for your students.
Yeah, that's perfect, Christa. And Tracey.
So for our program, a lot of the barriers are the unknown. So it's kind of a new concept to have somebody come in and co-teach your class. So some teachers are not sure how they would work that out. Where are these professionals coming from? The administrators are a little concerned about, well, we're going to just let somebody in our classroom. So what we try to do on our side at Teals is we spend a lot of time over the summer not only training teachers, but we train the IT professionals on how to teach. So we go over pedagogy and how to bring things down to a high schooler's level and to leave some of that expert bias that they may have in their offices. They also, for an administrator, this is kind of a new concept, having people come into the building on a weekly basis. So our volunteers are there 4 or 5 days a week, rotating in and out. So how do the logistics of that work? Things like that. We weren't quite as clairvoyant as Christa's group was about COVID happening and going virtual, but we do have and have had for several years a remote and virtual program where the volunteers can come in to those rural areas that don't have local IT professionals that would be available. So we were able to help transition that. So a good, that was one of the things that we were able to help with in March of last year when all of a sudden everybody went virtual. We helped make some transitions. So it's an education thing, making it less intimidating to the teachers and administrators about these professionals being in the classroom and showing them how much help they can be. Now, granted, they're volunteers. They may not be able to, and we will never ask them to help with discipline or school stuff, but they are great content experts that can add a lot of value to the classes, not only for the curriculum, but just in general on work skills and what it looks like to be a computer scientist in the real world.
Yeah, that's great, Tracey. Thanks. And Nicole.
Part of our mission statement at the Georgia Cyber Center, and specifically for the E337 or 1337 training goals, we have wanted to create a cybersecurity resource repository. So as you're sharing the information about the resources that you have available that a very large percentage of the community may not be aware of, we want to be able to host those on a platform like GitHub. And what we don't want to do is have teachers, behind closed doors who've been business teachers assigned the duties of now teaching cyber classes and IT classes, reinvent the wheel at every turn. So we want to be able to host a repository because here at the Georgia Cyber Center, our mission statement is to collaborate and do information sharing. So for the K-12 community, we want to host this repository and be able to place resources there. And there's one caveat, we do want to vet them because we don't want to host a repository of stuff that we can't validate or we know is like putting out false information, something of that nature, which we don't expect to get, but we are just, kind of putting that out there just know that this information will be vetted. And so students would gain access to this repository and have this plethora of resources like what Christa is talking about with IBM, what Tracey's talking about, what Tyler's talking about, especially with the things like free training over the summer, because we get a lot of requests about where can we go for these opportunities. And we kind of want to create this hub of information where people can go and access it from our website so that, you know, the information isn't scattered abroad, you know, from IBM to the different entities that are represented as part of this panel, for example. So that's one of the things that we want to do and be able to do well is host this repository and give teachers a place to go for a lot of different information that's available, from training to curricula that's already been built, or like Christa mentioned, the already designed programs that are out there like AI and things of that nature. So that's all I have in regard to that, Eric.
Yeah, so it's really just understanding what people's needs and requirements are and then directing them to the right resource. It's kind of a one-stop shop is the goal. And
exactly, because we get a lot of requests from teachers of, you know, where can I go to get this? Do you have information on this? So if we can create that one-stop shop, it would be an excellent tool and resource for teachers throughout our state to be able to use.
Great, thanks, Nicole. And Tyler.
I think, so I kind of have two answers. And the first is thinking about, especially for like the elementary and middle school folks who I think a lot of times, you know, you're either in maybe like a specials or an elective or a connections time. And so you're tasked with doing computer science plus something else. With the middle school CS courses, like, I think that's certainly changing, but up until that implementation, I think a lot of folks are kind of asked to do multiple things. So one of the things we try to do, and I think this increases the authenticity of some of the things that we do. Of course, you know, some things are really just straight in the technology, is that we try to incorporate, you know, we try to bridge that, like I said before, kind of like that STEM piece with that ever increasing importance of that T in STEM, which really, you know, for me is that computer science piece. And so that's one of the things that we try to do in the programming that we offer with researchers, with you know, experts, but also in the resources that we offer teachers that accompany those programmatic opportunities, lesson plans, reading, so on, but and then also the teacher professional learning. And I think that the second thing that we try to do, having been a former high school chemistry and physics teacher, or no matter how good a piece of curriculum is that is handed to you as the teacher, you always have that last minute, like, okay, this is what they wrote, but this is how I have to say it with my students, or this is how we refer to that, or that's our notation, or whatever. And what we try to do is create opportunity and space and support for teachers to do that translation, while still being able to go to either our staff or our participating researchers and be like, this is the modification I want to make, or this is you know, my group of students. Do you think I could make? What are other ways this is referred to? That way they can take it and make the most sense for their students. And that's one thing we've built specific time into with our summer professional learning that I'm really excited about. Is it'll be a unique opportunity to kind of have teachers come together and build on the resources we already have, create new resources, new lesson plans with the support of our faculty and staff.
Yeah, that's great. And for those in the audience, if there's other challenges that you're having, please just drop those in the chat and we'll follow up on those, because there is a statewide effort going on right now to address those challenges and make it much easier for our educators to teach students. So to Tracey, when we first met as part of this panel, you spoke about wanting to empower teachers, which I certainly love, because empowerment is one of our core values here at the Georgia Cyber Center. So can you talk more about what you mean when you say empower teachers?
Yeah, so our program and my beliefs in general about education is the more the teacher feels comfortable and knowledgeable about their topic, the better teacher they are, you know. So a lot of times in my career when I was a teacher, I would go off to a professional development, and it would be an intensive week or maybe 2 weeks over the summer. And I learned a lot, but it was so fast and so condensed that by the time you get back to your classroom and it's November or December and it's now time to pull that excellent lesson out of your memory or your notes, you don't necessarily remember it exactly right. So we want to empower teachers with providing them support throughout the year. So I wouldn't have left my classroom for a program that I didn't feel really strongly about because I love teaching. So this program is one of the best things that I as a teacher saw because it's like professional development all year long. I have an expert in my classroom that can help me with this topic this week. So our goal is to not just help for a year or help for a unit. We want to empower that teacher to learn the material and learn it well at their pace alongside their students or a little ahead of their students, and give them the opportunity to become a content expert over the course of several years. So our programs usually going to be in a school 2 to 5 years, depending on where the teacher was when we started or whether they wanted one class, support for one class or for a pathway of classes. So the goal is, personally, for us to make great CS content professionals out of these teachers, not just trying to teach to a certification test or to make sure that they got vague standards under their belt, but they really can speak to the content and they feel confident doing it, because that confidence builds over to the students. And we also want to make sure that, once they're at that level, that they feel like they can then take it and transfer it to another teacher. If we can get one teacher trained in a school, they generally can help a second teacher and a third teacher in their district. Teals will absolutely help them also. But if we empower them to help each other, we have a nationwide chat discussion board for all of our volunteers and teachers to get on together. So we empower them to share information and ask questions. And, hey, this went really well in my class. Let me share it with the teacher over in Alabama or across the country in, Nevada or Utah. So we're empowering them to help each other and to find those resources and be great professionals. And yeah, I'm on my soapbox, so I get a little passionate about teaching and CS in general. So, but that's what I want to see. I want my teachers to be excited about starting the process and be just as excited about when they're at the end of the process. Because computer science, to me, being the geek that I am, is super fun. I love taking a program apart and putting it back together. And I told that to an administrator one time, and they're like, I don't see how computer science is that fun. So, showing them all aspects of it. So we want to empower them to see it from many levels and many lenses.
That's awesome. And I love to see the passion. One of the comments in the chat was about, it's great that we have all this new curriculum and stuff, but it's really hard to integrate it into what they're already having to teach, right? So unfortunately, there's not a quick fix, but we're kind of working behind the scenes to help out with that as well.
Well, and that our program wants to be a value add. So we don't want to be an extra burden. We want our professionals and our volunteers to come in with the curriculum you're using, because we support a lot. We support Project Lead the Way curriculum, Code HS. Our volunteers don't have to do Teals curriculum, but we want to be a value add to make those curriculum changes and integrating that new stuff easier and smoother for the teachers that haven't seen it before and have more than enough on their plate already, especially if you're teaching K-8, because you've got so many other things you have to cover in your classroom, and computer science is not generally a class by itself. Unfortunately, Teals only supports high school right now, but we know that teachers have too much on their plate. We want to be a value add and a support to what they already have to do and not be something that's an additional burden for them to keep up with.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tracey. So you mentioned about, computer science being not fun or fun. So Nicole, one of the things that we've learned in our first couple of years here with the the multiple school field trips we used to host prior to COVID was that young students aren't always that interested or excited about IT or cybersecurity. Can you talk about some of the programs that we've either implemented or sponsored to help inspire students to want to enter a technology field?
Absolutely. So I love the versatility in my job because for 2 weeks I may be teaching adult learners as part of state agency, and then the next week I may be teaching a group of teachers in K-12 community, and then during the summer I have the opportunity to mentor and teach K-12 students that are part of different programs such as Cyber Patriot and what used to be the Girls Go Cyber Start, which is now changed to the Cyber Start America program. So if you're not familiar with these programs, pre-COVID, we would get lots of student requests from teachers to come into the center for students to learn more about cybersecurity. And so we didn't want to just bring them into the center and do a field trip. Our team really developed a program that would have them basically kind of do a scavenger hunt, but it was a field trip that included cryptographic puzzles, binary puzzles, and they had to solve a challenge in order to find some virus or malware that was hidden in the center that was going to take down a piece of critical infrastructure like the power grid. And so that would really help teachers identify students with specific skills and really help the student learner determine if this was a field that they were truly interested in. Because many students actually picture the students or the professionals in this field as the guy or girl with the hoodie that never comes out of a basement. But we really recruit people with great problem solving skills, people with forensic skills and investigative skills, and people who have critical thinking skills, which are very lacking in today's population, as well as those who have the ability to think outside the box. So Cyber Patriot is one of those programs. It's hosted by the Air Force Association. And basically, these students learn cyber defense skills, and that includes overall cybersecurity hygiene, as well as Windows security in like Windows Security Operating System and Linux operating system and Linux security. So they come in for a week and we give them 4 days of full instruction on those topics as far as the Cyber Patriot camps that we host here at the center. And then on the 5th day, it's a competition. So who doesn't like a good competition? So I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan, and we just got killed in the basketball bracket. And it was like, oh, so sad in the very first week that we busted our bracket. But, you know, we all love good competitions. And so the students come in and we assign them on teams, and they compete by finding different vulnerabilities, fixing those vulnerabilities, and they earn points based on that. And then the program offers different rewards. So that has been a very rewarding program. It's one of my favorite times of year. I love working with the students. And it's just such a great program in teaching cyber defense. We also have the opportunity to mentor young students in the Cyber Start America program, which is sponsored by SANS. And this is a program that's actually hosted online, so it doesn't use virtual machines. And the students go through various different puzzles, from cryptography to coding, programming errors, vulnerabilities in software. And as they solve each one of these problems, they progress to a different level. Now, the great thing about this particular program is that it actually offers rewards and incentives to the schools and the students that participate. So they give them Amazon gift cards to buy resources and tools, supplies for their school. So one of the most favorite things that I get to do in that regard, and also we have coming up, and I'll actually post it in the I'll post it in the chat. I'm sorry, Eric, if I'm going over my 5 minutes here, but I'm going to post this in the chat and then share this graphic coming up for a CTF that one of our industry partners is doing. And this particular CTF is hosted by Parsons Cyber. And if I can find it, maybe I can't. Let's see what it's called here. That's coming up on 20 April, and it's going to be from 10 to 2 during the day. And I'll actually just post in the chat how to register for that. But it's part of the TechNet 2021, which is an event that's always hosted in Augusta, and it's a high school Capture the Flag event. So another opportunity that we have for our K-12 students.
Awesome, Nicole, thanks. Yeah, I'll put some more links in there for Girls Who Code, Cyber Start America, and Cyber Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
And we got just a few minutes left. Christa or Tyler, do you have any additional ways to inspire young people in this IT field?
Sure, I'm happy to go. So one thing that we're doing to sort of, we know that it can be difficult to sort of prioritize emerging technology education during the school year when you have, required regimented standards. So we're standing up a summer challenge this summer where teachers, all they have to do is register students that they think would be interested in doing a minimum of learning hours on the platform. For middle schoolers, it'll be about 7 hours. High schoolers, it'll be 10 to 12. Every student who finishes those learning hours and is signed up through the challenge will receive a finishing prize from us. It's just a fun way to allow teachers to sort of continue to push their students' thinking this summer without having to really do much other than registering them and sending them the information. So happy to send that information out after the conference today.
That's fantastic. Tyler, we'll give you the last words here.
Oh man, no pressure, right? Just real quickly, I think, one of the things, going kind of back to the keynote for those who may have tuned into that this morning, thinking about the equity piece and the accessibility of computer science and technology careers, showing students professionals in tech that look like them, that are like them, that they can kind of develop that computer science identity. And one of the things that's kind of near and dear to my heart, having taught at a high school that had a lot of first generation students, not just first generation to college, but first generation to the country and into high school even, is that I'm really happy to share that we'll be doing even some Spanish language programming, other language programming if possible, featuring technology professionals. So we'll be doing a Spanish language series in the fall, all focused on computer science careers, technology careers, with folks who speak Spanish, and those will be all Spanish sessions for students who speak that at home. They can bring their families, have their parents tune in to learn more about what careers in technology might be like. So I think that's one of the most important things we can do is kind of offer up role models that look like students, offer that diverse representation, and so really excited to offer that as part of our programming next year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And part of the statewide effort that I mentioned was really started with a collaboration with Georgia Tech and Augusta University. But, part of the goal is exactly the equity. How do you good content to whether you're in inner city Atlanta or rural Georgia or wherever you are, everybody needs to have the same opportunity to a good education. So that's kind of the key that we're working there. So any final comments from the panel? I think we got 1 minute left. If anybody has a parting shot. If not, then again, thank everybody for attending. I especially want to thank the panel members. It was wonderful to get to know you guys and really appreciate you participating. And again, to those that are out there on the front lines teaching our students, my prayers go out to you, and I just thank you so much for what you do. And if there's any follow-ups, please reach out to any of us, and we'll be happy to help you try to navigate through this maze of cyber and IT and computer science. So thank everybody again, and have a blessed week. Hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Christa and Tracey, I didn't know about your programs, so and Tyler, those are amazing. So I'm definitely going to do more research, and thanks for the information.
I want to reach out to all of you and see if we can
This
collaborate
was a
somehow.
fun for me. I learned a lot.
That's what I love
was
about these
awesome.
things. Now we can all connect and like figure out how to support each other. It's the whole purpose of
All
this.
about building relationships. Yes.
If there's anything I can do for any of you guys, please let me know. I'd be happy to help.
Yep, same.
Same here. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
you too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.